Hey everybody, it is May 15th, and today we're going to talk about Isaac Kappy. He allegedly committed suicide in the last 2 days. I think it was yesterday is when it was reported. So for those of you that don't know Isaac Kappy, he is an actor, and the mainstream media, makes it very clear that he had only small roles in big films. Um, but I think what's important is okay, so let me explain what he's done in the past. In the past year, he's came out and he spoke against Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, Seth Green, and these are people that he, publicly declared, I was in this group with these people like Seth Green, and I would hang out with them and do things, around them, and so he got a feel of what these people were into. So he's spoken out against MK Ultra and Pedogate and Pizzagate, and I personally have found him very credible. The things that he says, for the most part. Um, there's a few things that I do have an issue with on him, but I don't think that it affects his credibility. But let me go into this. So look his stuff up. Look his past videos up. If you can, somehow like screenshot it or find a way to download his videos, because I'm telling you, they're going to pull it off the internet as much as they can. That's what I've been doing today. I've been going through past videos and screen recording and making my own personal database of things he said. So this is the timeline of events here. He posted his last video. I'm calling it the betrayal video because he says that he betrayed his base, betrayed everybody watching and believing in him, to be the good in this world. And he feels like he's betrayed everything that he was supposed to, be holding people accountable, exposing all these corrupt people. Then something happened, and I don't know if blackmail is the right term for it, or set up, but I think that he was given an opportunity to do something not very legal or not very morally right, and doing that for money, doing something very wrong for money. And then he realized, I think he was being like kind of long-term set up, maybe to be blackmailed or to be, this is how he has explained the Pedogate and Pizzagate and Hollywood experience to be like. They'll get something on you that they can hold against you or blackmail you with, and then you're stuck. You're in the club forever. So with my research of Pizzagate and Pedowood, that makes sense to me. So the stuff he's saying seems like it has validity to it. And he has, all the people he's called out, like Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, Seth Green. He's even like publicly in his videos challenged people and said, if I'm wrong, if I'm slandering you, and something I'm saying is not factually accurate, then take me to court. And he's like, said publicly, take me to court. If you have a problem with what I'm saying about you, Tom Hanks or whoever, then challenge me. And so obviously he would have a way to prove it, So the way he died, he jumped off it looks like a very, very small bridge, like a baby bridge, onto Route 66. Now they're reporting it as like I-40, but what it is, if you go to the Google Maps, it's Route 66 as well. So to me, I'm not saying that it's not a suicide, but I'm saying he's definitely being manipulated mentally right now, or he was right before he died. He says that he doesn't want to doesn't want to say specifics because he says that if he says specifics, it might put people in jeopardy. So he doesn't want to make it worse. I think one thing of his last video that really stuck out to me was the fact that he's always spoken honestly and genuinely because he wanted to kind of be a leader. He wanted to set a good example. He had enough of, people being sucked into that system that's sick. He said, okay, in his last video, I think it was 24 hours before, maybe a little more than that. I know he wrote his note on Instagram 24 hours before. Yeah, he also wrote let's see if I can pull that up. If I can spell. Okay, so he wrote a note. I'm not going to read the whole thing because you guys can look it up, but it says, over the course of a year, through introspection that should have happened many years ago, I came to some stark revelations about my character. He goes on, just like, I have not been a good guy. In fact, I've been a pretty bad guy throughout my life. Honestly, I don't know about this note. I don't know. I can't say, if it looks legitimate or not. This is the Q movement. I am so sorry I brought shame upon the greatest military operation of all time. See, that's another thing too. I didn't like that he was a Q supporter. That made me, worry about his ability to identify this kind of stuff. It kind of reminds me in a way of this guy I once knew that he looked really legitimate. He was involved in protests and stuff, but then he would act like he's, woke to how the entire system works against us. And then, then he'd be like putting in some pro-establishment stuff. So this is something to think about, I'm not saying that people don't have the right to follow and research whatever they want. I think that's good. Hopefully in time, I think they'll see, Q for what it really is, whatever that may be. In his last video, he said Q is mad at him. So whatever, take that how you take that. He said he might leave the country. People were asking him questions, and he was just answering honestly like he normally does. He might leave the country. He said he might come back on video. He doesn't know. Clearly there's manipulation. He said he made a mistake. He said, quote, you can do something so bad that it fucks you forever. He seems to think that it's whatever he did, it's going to come out. So he did something for money. He said he didn't hurt children. He didn't hurt anybody. But decisions that he's made, I guess for gambling, he said to focus on love, to love each other, to stay in the light. And he also said to meditate. And I think we all should be meditating right now, going through everything that we're going through, learning how much corruption and evil is in this government, and other governments, finding out how nasty this world is. It's pretty fucking depressing. Like, but there's some other important things of his last video, like the fact that he said, "I'm not suicidal." He said bad things are coming for him. He said, someone asked him what happened, was that a trap? And he said that he couldn't answer that. So he also said he's not being blackmailed to do that video, and he's not suicidal. He definitely said it had to do with gambling. He said he acted in a way he did not realize was bad, and he immediately knew it was a bad decision when it happened. This is the video here. Or I think I have some more pulled up. No. But the video goes on for like an hour and 20 minutes, and I gotta say, it's I feel about as depressed as the day that I saw Julian Assange being carried out of the embassy. It was tough watching that, and I think in the betrayal video, I think he was being genuine. Personally, I think that he made a mistake and he realized he was not being a good leader. And you know, he essentially said that they have him. He's in the club now. Like, you know, whatever he did is going to be used against him. And he said that, you know, time and time again in his other videos, that that's how they get you. They get you in there with blackmail. But Isaac Kappy, you know, and they're in the media, they're talking about something that happened with him and Paris Jackson, some, you know, dramatic, you know, event that happened in the mainstream media. And I try and ignore, you know, things, articles and headlines that look like it would be on the rack at a grocery store. I try and ignore those, like, kind of drama news stories if I can. It says reported jumped to his death on Monday from Transwestern Road bridge onto Interstate 40, and Interstate 40 is actually Route 66. So I will keep looking into this, and hopefully this. Yes, and called out James Gunn too. And I think he was talking about James Gunn. James Gunn was actually rehired, I think because of his script. So they, like, you know, said, oh, he's unhired, we're gonna fire him, and then he got his job back. So he's called out a lot of people, and I know that he advocates for the Q movement, and I know that I personally don't trust the Q movement. I think it's a distraction. And people could be better spending their time elsewhere. But you know what? I'm not a fascist, and I think that whatever they want to research, for as long as they want to research it, go on, do your thing. I'm going to do my thing and not report about it. So here's this letter. You know, he mentions drug use and gambling, and then he promotes Q. Then, you know, but he does say a lot of good things, like he says, you know, share love and meditate, and, you know, stay together, stay connected. And See, and he says, I did not reflect on my own truths and many, many shortcomings. It's like some of it feels like it's him and some feels like it's not. So I really think he was a good dude, and I think, you know, some actors may be good people deep down, but then they get sucked in, and especially if they're, sucked into this life as children, they're almost, you know, I don't see how you could be a child actor and not a successful child actor and not have to get sucked into this. So we need a real awakening right now because our government's not going after these pedophiles. They're too high up. Um, they use drugs and alcohol and they get these people addicted. That's their life. That's no life, living like that. Drugging yourself, just to numb how bad it is. And you can tell from his last video that it was. You'll have to just look it up, but you can find it on Google, I'm sure, or Twitter. But yeah, that's so Isaac Kappy, rest in peace. Keep talking about it, keep sharing it. Ignore these people that are like hateful and these people that want to get angry at you for talking about this. This is not a conspiracy. There are definitely evil things at foot. And there's definitely manipulators that are behind the scenes happening with his story. And I think we just need to keep digging until we find it. On this video with Isaac Kappy, he says, focus on love each other, and stay in the light, and meditate.